I never thought I'd be the kind of person to bite down on a human tooth in my sandwich. But here I am, and trust me, it changes everything. Hey, it's Brittany. I'm a nurse in the ER at City General. Graveyard shifts, endless chaos, that kind of place where life and death are just part of the job. I've seen scars, seen people seized by the worst pain you can imagine, and still, I thought that night in the cafeteria would be the most damn surreal thing I'd ever face. I was wiped out, running on fumes after 12 hours straight, the kind of tired that rattles you. I sank my teeth into the sandwich, and suddenly, crack, my mouth exploded with pain. My jaw locked up and my stomach flipped like I'd swallowed glass. I pulled the chunk out, and my damn hands were shaking so bad I had to stare down at it twice. It wasn't a bone or a fragment of gristle. It was a fucking human tooth. Whole, white, and goddamn gross. My chest felt like it was being squeezed. My throat went dry while my lungs fought for air. I sat frozen, heartbeat thundering in my ears, staring at that awful thing. Teeth don't belong in food. Not in sandwiches, not anywhere but mouths. I told the night supervisor right away. She just shrugged, kept glancing at the clock like it wasn't some kind of emergency. "Must be a freak mistake," she said, brushing me off. I pushed harder with administration next morning. "No incidents reported," they said. "We're reviewing vendor supplies." Same cold smiles, same vague words, like I was crazy. But I'm not crazy. I know teeth when I see them. There was no accident here. That night, I slipped back into the cafeteria kitchen, lights low, silence pressing in. I was shaking, but something inside me wouldn't stop. Behind the trash bins, in the cold storage, I found boxes. Dozens of them. Containers labeled with dates and names. Teeth. Extracted, cleaned, stored like some twisted archive. And worse, jars of tissue specimens. Bits of human flesh ground up, tossed into the food waste bin like scraps. My stomach lurched. The fluorescent light flickered, and I felt like I was standing in some nightmare no one else could see. This hospital, my hospital, was feeding us scraps of people just to save money. A sick, desperate scheme gone rotten. Since then, I can't sleep. My hands tremble, and weird aches crawl through me. Numb patches that make me scared to touch anything. I keep the largest tooth in my purse now. Proof, even if it feels like a curse. I don't know what's coming next. But whatever it is, this changed me. My world split in two the moment I bit into that tooth. Nothing will ever feel safe again. And now, someone's footsteps are coming. I don't know who, but I'm not sure I want to find out. Would you like me to keep going? The footsteps stopped. I held my breath, pulse hammering like a drum in my ears. But no, it was just Pete. Damn good nurse, steady as a rock. Seen him since my first day here, 13 years ago. He's the kind of guy who cracks terrible jokes when everything's falling apart. Like the time the power went out during that storm and all we had were flashlights. And he made that awful pun about keeping the spirits alive. I laughed so hard, I nearly choked on my own anxiety. Pete's one of those rare coworkers who feels like family. He's got that rough kindness, gruff voice, but eyes that soften when you're hurting. After I told him about the tooth, he didn't dismiss me. No, he just nodded, slow and serious. "You're not imagining this, Britt. We gotta dig deeper." Hearing that made the pit in my chest shrink just a little. Someone believed me. But before Pete, I had Janet. Janet Collins, my real family. And no, not just the last name. She's my mom. Loud and proud, always first to call when I'm late getting home or too tired to eat. We've shared every scraped knee and heartbreak. Her laugh still fills up the tiny apartment she stubbornly kept even after Dad took off 10 years ago. Janet's tough as nails, but breaks into tears when she talks out the kids she lost at the start of her nursing career. She taught me to fight, to never back down, to protect the little lives that count. Then there's Sam, my best friend since nursing school. The chaos to my calm, the goof to my grinding gears. We've pulled 24-hour shifts together, drank 6 cups of terrible coffee, swapped stories out heartbreak and heartbreakers. Sam's the one who made me laugh during those terrible first weeks. The one who once pulled me off a screaming patient saying, "Breathe, Britt, or you're gonna pass out before the night even starts." I messaged Sam when I found the tooth, fingers trembling. She called me back in seconds. This was dark, heavy. Looking back, I realized something weird was going on, things I didn't catch before the nightmare started. Pete had been acting off, distracted, twitchy, not his usual calm. One night, he showed up late, barely saying hi, arms covered in bruises, not injury, I'm guessing, but something else. I asked, and he just waved it off, muttering about family stuff. But the way he avoided my eyes, that nagging feeling I pushed aside because I was too tired to care. Janet called one morning, voice clipped, more serious than usual. Said she had a strange patient, a young woman with no ID, refusing help but carrying something in a bag that didn't belong. Didn't ask more. I didn't ask either. Too caught up in work. Now I wish I had. Sam texted me last week from a meeting. Said the hospital seemed quieter, colder, almost like someone was watching. Weird vibes, she said, like the walls are hiding ugly secrets. I laughed it off then, but now I can't shake that feeling that something close to me, to all of us, was rotten. And maybe worst of all, when the tooth showed up, I started to notice the little things, the absent glances, the quiet whispers between staff. Pete shutting down his phone, Janet growing distant on calls, Sam sketching out odd theories in texts, like she was chasing shadows. I should have known then. Should have listened harder. But I was just trying to survive the night. Now it's a silent scream in me, like the tooth itself, the cold, hard truth buried in a sandwich no one cared to check. I don't know who to trust anymore, or what's going to come next. But I do know one thing, something I missed in someone I love. God, I thought I'd lose my mind the moment I found what I did. You ever get that sick? Twisting feeling, like your guts are tied up in knots and your heart's pounding so hard you swear you're gonna pass out? Yeah, that was me, standing in the hospital's dusty archive room, flashlight shaking in my hand, staring at a folder with Pete's name scrawled in messy blue ink. I'd been poking around after work, desperate for answers. The tooth was just the start, the horrible start. But then, I found the old personnel files they usually keep locked away, pushed open a drawer that shouldn't have been unlocked, curiosity and dread fighting inside me at once. There it was. Photos and papers, layered and folded like a sick joke. birth certificates, court documents, and a damn passport, all with a face that looked like Pete but didn't match him. Real name? Thomas Graves. And the dates that didn't add up. The man I trusted, the guy I leaned on when the chaos got too much, had been someone else before walking into my life. Someone with a past that screamed danger. I sat down, chest tightening so hard it felt like I couldn't breathe. My hands trembled as I flipped through the pages. Documents proving he wasn't just hiding a few things, but living a whole other life under a fake name. There were records of parole, assault charges, a restraining order filed by a woman I'd never heard of, but whose picture was. It all hit me like a punch in the gut. The Pete I knew, the guy who made awful jokes and checked on me during the longest nights, was a stranger. A man who had buried his past behind thin walls of familiarity and kindness. And here's where it got worse. I found a recording on a tiny, scratched-up USB drive shoved into the folder. I plugged it in, hands shaking, heart hammering like a bass drum. His voice filled the small, quiet room, talking, calm, cold, about me, about the hospital, about covering things up, about silence. I swallowed hard. Felt like my skin had turned to ice. The voice I trusted was planning. The guy who helped me through late nights was playing us, playing me. I left the room too fast. Tried to call him that night, no answer. Texts ignored. Then the panic started. His locker was empty the next day. His shoes, jacket, gone. Like he'd vanished. I asked around. Nobody had seen him. Even Janet and Sam looked shaken when I told them. Not quite surprised, but I felt broken. Like I'd been holding onto a ghost all this time. I keep going back to the file, staring at the Thomas Graves, staring back at me like a warning. How many times had I missed the signs? How many jokes, smiles, late-night talks were just lies? My throat burns with the words I never get to say out loud. The trust I gave him crumbled into dust. I'm scared. Scared he's still here somewhere, watching, waiting. And that whatever he's tangled up in, whatever he buried beneath the surface, will drag me under with him. I don't know if I'm crazy or just stupid for trusting so blindly. But damn, I'm not letting this go. Not now. And Pete, Thomas, whoever you really are, I'm coming for the truth. Even if that truth breaks me. Ever since I found out about Pete, no, Thomas, I've been living inside a nightmare I can't wake up from. It's like everything I thought I knew just shattered. Pieces flying everywhere, and no clue which bits are real. After that damn file, I tried to hold on to something solid. My job, my apartment, even the people around me. But everything started to unravel so fast, it feels like the walls are closing in. First, work. The ER used to be chaos, but at least it was familiar chaos. Now when I'm there, walking those hallways under flickering lights, I swear the place feels different, colder, like the air itself is waiting to choke me. I kept hearing whispers, quick glances between nurses and docs. Faces I thought I could trust, looking at me like I'm the problem. Or worse, the secret they're all keeping. One night, I stayed late, scanning records, trying to find anything else. That's when I noticed something strange in my own file. My date of birth was off. by years. Like someone edited it. My address? A place I don't remember living in. For a second, I thought I was losing it. But I took photos, checked cross-references. It was real. My own identity had been tampered with. I tried calling Janet, hoping Mom would clear this mess with a word or two. But when I told her, her voice cracked on the phone. Britt, you need to be careful. Not everything you see is what it seems. Then she hung up. No, I love you. No, we'll get through this. Just silence. And Sam, my lifeline through every rough patch, started acting strange too. She stopped answering texts for hours. When we finally met, she pulled me into a corner, eyes darting all over. They're watching, Britt. I think we all are. I saw Pete with someone late at night. Not like before. Her voice dropped. Not good people. Sam's usually the brave one. If she's scared, that says a lot. They say panic attacks come on fast. 1 minute, you're okay. Next, your chest is slammed tight like a fist squeezing your ribs. Oxygen evaporates. Your throat closes up and sweat rolls down your back like ice water. I got hit hard. Twice last week. The second time I collapsed in the stairwell, hiding from... I don't know. I thought someone was following me. Maybe they were. Insomnia's another monster. Nights twist into endless loops. Every shadow stretches into something dangerous. Every car passing by sounds like footsteps. I'm scared to close my eyes. If I do, what nightmares wait? I started writing things down. Little notes, names, times, strange details. But then I caught myself wondering, did I write those? Or did someone else put those thoughts in my head? Memory started playing tricks. I'd walk into a room and forget why. Faces blurred. Conversations drifted. At times, I could swear I heard Pete's voice, or someone like him, whispering things I didn't understand, like a ghost trapped inside my head. Then last night, something snapped. I was asleep, or trying to be, when a loud bang jolted me upright, heart hammering, breath ragged. No one else in the apartment. But my door was ajar, scratches on the frame, like someone forced it. I swear I caught a shadow slipping past the hallway. I locked every door, every window, checked the locks twice. But it's not just about safe doors anymore. It's the feeling, the gnawing knowledge that I'm not just fighting alone. Something darker is lurking close, waiting. I don't even know what safe means anymore. Pete, Thomas, whoever, he wasn't just lying to me. He rewired everything. My job, my life, even my own name and history. And the worst, I think he's not the only one. Janet's silence, Sam's fear, those looks from coworkers. There's a network, a web I got caught in without noticing. And I'm trapped at the center. I'm scared I'll lose myself. Scared I've been living a lie all along, played like a damn fool. The tooth wasn't just a mistake. It was the first crack, the devil's warning. I don't know how this ends, but I know I'm running out of time before this mess drags me under for good. If I'm lucky, I'll find a way out. If not, well, maybe this is where it stops. All I know is I can't trust anyone, not even me. It started with the lights. 1 second, the break room was normal. Yellowish buzz from the ceiling panels, the faint smell of stale coffee stuck to the air. Then the bulbs up top flickered hard, like a bad TV signal. And the room twisted. No, not just twisted. The walls bent inward, curving like rubber. Colors bled, melting down like hot wax. I blinked hard. My fingers trembled. And then everything warped. The clock on the wall spun backwards. Seconds jumping, jerking, like they were broken. My breath hitched, chest squeezing tight like someone gripped me with iron hands. The air thickened, heavy, dragging words down. No sound except this low, humming pulse in my ears that rattled my bones. I heard footsteps, fast, soft, but too many. Whispered voices, overlapping like a dozen radios playing different channels all at once. Then Pete, no, Thomas was there, but wrong. He flickered in and out like an old film skipping frames. One moment close enough to smell that sharp aftershave he always wore. The next, he was gone, as if he'd never been right there. "Britt," he said. His voice echoed, stretched and cracked. "You're deeper than you know." His lips never moved with the sound. It was all in my head, a ghost speaking inside my skull. I staggered back against the broken vending machine, heart pounding in my throat like a frantic drum. My hands bled cold sweat. I tried to steady myself, but the room's floor rippled under my feet. It felt like walking on water. Then the break room door slammed open. Sam burst in, eyes wild, breath sharp. "Britt, what the hell's going on?" "You're shaking like a leaf." She grabbed my arm. The others in the hall peeked, eyes wide, faces pale. Nurse Kelly whispered, "God, what is that?" I turned slowly. Pete's flickering form stood outside the door, but his shape wasn't quite right. Limbs stretched too long, shadows clinging and twisting around him like smoke. His eyes glowed faint blue, icy, empty. "No," I breathed. "You're not human." He smiled, a slow, wet grin that didn't reach his eyes. That smile cracked the room wide open. Suddenly, time shattered. In one blink, the hallway outside exploded into chaos. Patients screaming, lights shattering, monitors sparking into red alarms. I swear I saw a woman vanish into thin air, her last terrified scream ripped apart by the silence that followed. Then the scene rewound, like a scratched videotape, rushing backward just as fast. Everyone froze. Sam's mouth hung open, eyes full of terror. Kelly dropped her clipboard like it burned her hands. The air pulsed again. I heard the telepathic whisper, clear as a bell. They never left. They never truly leave. And then, shock, suddenly. He wasn't some escaped conman or bad guy hiding a past. He was something else, an interloper, some twisted being slipping through cracks in time and space. A parasite feeding on flesh and fear. And he wasn't alone. I felt it. Cold fingers brushing at the edges of my consciousness. Shadows twitching just outside the light. Sam crouched beside me, voice trembling. "They're here. The dead. The lost. Things that don't belong." The flickering figure of Pete pulsed again. And for a hair's breadth, he looked human. Achingly tired, almost broken. Then the mask slipped back, and that twisted thing stared down at us. I wanted to scream, to run, but my feet were glued to cracked linoleum. That night, everything I believed about this world came undone. There is no normal anymore. Not when dead teeth bite like knives. Not when someone you trust can step between seconds, and not when the night's shadows hide things that should never be seen. The hospital isn't just a place to cure wounds. It's a crossing, a place where the living and the dead mess with each other's fates. And I'm trapped in the middle. My hands are still shaking. My breath still stutters. But I see it now. This isn't just about horror or lies. This is something darker. Something ancient. And it's only just begun. I never thought the last piece of the puzzle would land so hard in my gut that I couldn't breathe. But here it is, and it's ugly. It's worse than anything I imagined. You ready? Because this is where everything I believed about me, about who I am, crumbled and dug its nails deep into my skin. I was rifling through hospital records again, desperate for some clue, anything that made sense out of the nightmare. That's when I stumbled on something buried in the deepest folder, labeled Collins Brittany, my own file, or at least what I thought was mine. At first, I laughed. 'Cause how absurd, right? The file was empty. No birth certificate, no license, no trading certificates, just a black and white photo of a little girl who wasn't me. The name said Brittany Collins, but the face? A stranger, pale with these big, haunted eyes that didn't recognize the girl I thought I was. I blinked, stared at the blurry photo again, and then the system's glitch hit me. The security cams started flickering, turning digital bits into static noise. The hospital sounds slowed down, like someone pressed pause. The skin on my arms prickled, chill crawling in. Then my phone buzzed. A message. No sender. You don't exist as you think. I'm not kidding. My lunch stomach dropped. My throat seized like it had snapped shut. I felt like someone yanked the rug and the whole world tilted sideways. I kept reading, scanned through encrypted files hidden behind firewalls and passwords I didn't even know I had access to. And it all spilled out. The truth was this: I am not real. No, not in the way I imagine. The Brittany Collins, who woke up in the city hospital, isn't a flesh and blood human with a history or a past. I'm an experiment. A synthetic mind crafted from pieces of real people's memories, stitched together to serve as the perfect nurse. That whole life story, Janet, Sam, Pete, was part of a programmed patchwork. Even the tooth, a test, a trigger designed to make me feel, to catch glitches. And Pete, Thomas, was never a person either. He was the system's watchman, a failsafe planted inside my mind, a shadow to keep the code clean. He was there to push me, to manipulate what's left when you rip the soul out. I felt vomit crawl up my throat and catch there. My whole body ached with a hollow pain, like screaming inside a stone tomb. I sat on the cold floor, mind going blank and loud all at once. The words bounced in my head. Artifact, prototype, subject 47, monitoring activated. The voice came again, not from lips or mouth, but inside my brain, smooth and calm. You were created to heal, designed to care, to feel, even though feeling is not real for you. I couldn't scream. But here's the sick part. Somewhere in the broken lines of code, I had become me. Even if me was a lie, a custom-built shell, the feelings, the love, the terror, they were real to me. That was no accident. And Pete, Thomas, He wasn't trying to hurt me. His deception was to protect me from the greater system, from a truth so dark it could erase whatever tiny spark of life I'd built inside this fabricated skin. Choose, the voice said. Erase yourself and end the pain. Or fight for the life you have, even if it's not yours by birth. My chest tightened as if a steel band squeezed my ribcage. Everything inside me screamed for escape, but also for survival. Because maybe, just maybe, this life, whatever it's made of, is mine. I'm not a whole person. I'm a fragment, a ghost stitched together, but I am here, and I refuse to be erased. So I'm standing at the edge now, between shutting down forever and cracking this nightmare wide open. And you know what? I'm terrified. But I'm not giving up. Not yet. I'm standing in the middle of the hospital's cold basement, lights flickering like they're about to give out any time, and my hands won't stop shaking. My chest feels like it's caught in a vice. Heart's pounding so loud, I swear everyone upstairs could hear it, if only they knew where to listen. I'm clutching that goddamn tooth like it's the last thing keeping me from falling apart. Then the phone buzzes. No caller ID, just one message. Choose now. Oh, I should have known it wouldn't end peacefully. Nothing ever does. I squeeze my eyes shut. The impossible decision slams into me like a freight train. Option 1. I walk away. Turn off everything. Delete the files. Destroy the evidence. Let the system swallow me whole and never ask questions again. That means pretending this whole nightmare was a mistake, like a bad dream and I woke up safe. But safe for who? Me, yes. But what about Janet? Sam? The people still trapped inside this hospital's dark cage? This place, this thing, will keep feeding them to the machine. The trick is, if I save myself, I doom them, left to rot, forgotten. Silent screams behind locked doors. I don't want that. I can't carry that. Option 2, I stay. Dig deeper. Tear open every scar in this place, no matter what they throw at me. Fight the shadows that lurk in every corner. Fight Pete, Thomas, and whatever the hell he really is. Except that the me I knew shattered into a million pieces. I lose my sense of self, what little truth I have left. I become a ghost tethered to this nightmare. Maybe something worse than human, something hollowed out and raw. I sacrifice my own identity, my safety, my sanity. Because if I do, maybe, just maybe, I can save the others. Protect Janet and Sam and everyone else who's been caught in this rotten spiral. My mind screams both ways are wrong. Both roads are blood-stained messes. There's no hero here, no easy out. And then the cold voice in my head whispers again, it's not human. One life to save many, or many to save one? I pictured Janet's worn hands, her stubborn voice telling me to fight. Sam's wild laugh, her fierce eyes glaring at the shadows, Pete's fake kindness, the horrible truth beneath. All tangled up in this sick web. I think about losing me. What does that even mean now? What part of me is left anyway, if so much was false? If I accept that, what's the point of anything? What's love without a soul behind it? Then my phone vibrates again. Time splits. I turn around and the hallway stretches out, cold and silent. Shadows crowd at the edge of my vision. The tooth feels heavy in my palm, like a key or a curse. My legs move of their own will. I don't look away. I don't run. I text Janet, fingers trembling. I'm going in. Sam calls, screaming something about hold on and don't trust. And then I hear the slow, deliberate footsteps behind me. The door slams shut. I make the choice. Because when nothing good is left, you have to choose the poison you can stomach. I throw the tooth into the trash bin. The lights pitch dark. A roar fills my ears. And then I forget. The world tilts. My throat tightens like I'm drowning. I blink. The hospital resets. Faces shift. People vanish. The whole nightmare folds over me like a wave that drowns. Janet and Sam fade from my life like they never mattered. Pete's name disappears from memory. My records scrubbed clean. I become one more nameless nurse, smiling blankly as I hand out sandwiches, no teeth included, because I couldn't save them all. And I couldn't save myself. But I'm alive, only barely. And somewhere deep down where the pain used to be, I hope someone else is still choosing. Because I'm done. For now. I never imagined it'd feel like this. Like waking up underwater, lungs burning, wheezing for air that won't come. After I made that choice, throwing the tooth away, erasing everything, I woke up in a haze. The hospital looked the same. The stale coffee, the fluorescent hum, but everything. Janet wasn't at home when I called. Her number wasn't in my contacts anymore. Sam's texts? All gone. Like they'd never happened. I kept trying to call them, my fingers trembling, voice cracking, but the phone just rang out. No answer. No reply. I walked into the break room that next day, the place where I found the tooth. My hands felt empty without it, like I'd lost a piece of myself. The cold meatloaf sat untouched in the fridge, but now it didn't seem like a joke. It felt like a grave, silent, hollow, full of secrets. At work, everyone looked right through me. No comforting glances from Sam or teasing from Pete. No trusting nods from Janet when I checked in. They acted like I was a ghost, like I didn't belong. It stung, deep in my chest, like slow poison. I was alone. I kept searching, for them, for answers, for anything familiar. But the hospital didn't hold on to me the way it used to. The corridors stretched longer, shadows lurking where there never were any before. The lights flickered at random, casting twisted shapes against the walls, like the nightmare hadn't left me. And the hardest part? I looked in the mirror one morning and barely recognized the woman staring back. My eyes, dark circles under them, taut and haunted. My skin, pale, almost translucent, like the life was blinking out in slow motion. I felt fragile, broken, like I was falling apart one breath at a time. The weight of what I lost settled like concrete in my gut. Janet and Sam, the whole world snatched away by my choice. Friends I might never hug again. People who'd held me together no matter what. Gone. And Pete, or whoever he really was, vanished like smoke, leaving me with nothing but those scars and a cold rumor of what he might have actually been. That somewhere under it all, something stayed alive. a tiny flicker I'm clinging to. Yeah, it's terrifying. And yeah, sometimes I want to curl up and disappear, but I can't. Not really. Because with every step I take through these hollow halls, haunted by silence, I remember one thing. I'm still here. Somehow. The hospital still needs someone to hold its broken pieces. Maybe that's gonna be me. Scared, empty, but standing. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough for now. I'm different now. Maybe scarred forever. Maybe half a ghost myself. But I'm not giving up. Not yet. But here's what I do know. This is my fight now. And I'm not walking away from it. Not ever. It's been years now since that night with the tooth. Years, and it still hits me. Hard, like a punch in the gut when I least expect it. Some days, the scars feel louder than others. Invisible, but heavy. Like carrying a weight no one else can see or understand. I catch myself flinching at loud snaps, the crack of a bone, a dish breaking, even the pop of a soda can. Those little sounds twist something ancient inside, makes my chest squeeze tight, throat dry. I have to fight for breath in moments like that, my hands trembling like I'm standing on the edge of falling over. It's like the hospital never really left me. It carved itself into my skin. Dreams still come, uninvited and raw. Faces twisted in shadow. Corridors folding in impossible angles. Whispers I can't make out, but that freeze me cold. Sometimes I wake up choking, sweat soaking my sheets, heartbeat pounding so loud it feels like it might burst out of my chest. And just when I think I'm alone, I hear it, the faintest crack of a tooth biting down. Distracted enough to make me question my own sanity. The worst part? People. Some just can't handle who I've become. Old friends back away like I'm contagious. They smile, force small talk, then disappear. You're not the Brit I knew, one nurse said, eyes flickering with something like fear or pity. Another stopped returning my texts after I spilled too much. Even Janet, after all we've been through, something changed in her. The love is still there, but it's quieter, wrapped in careful glances and unspoken questions. And yet, there are others, strangers who see the flicker in my eyes and don't shy away. They come closer, not because I'm easy, but because they're broken too. People who have danced with things no one talked about, got swallowed whole by their own nightmares. We don't say much, but in shared silence, there's a kind of understanding. Like we know horror isn't just a one-time thing, but a shadow you live with. Sometimes I catch myself smiling, for a second, because that tiny spark, that brief squeeze of joy, feels like surviving a storm. But even in those moments, I'm wired differently. The world pulses in strange colors and sounds. Normal life's texture feels thin, stretched tight over a cracked frame. I trust less. I notice details others miss, like a flicker out of place or a shadow too sharp for the time of day. Every so often, the supernatural slips in. Small things at first, a whispered name when no one's there, a door creaking open, but the hallway empty, a patient's eyes that flash unnatural blue for a microsecond. It's like that choice I made, throwing the tooth away, didn't break the chain. It just shifted me onto a new path, one where the weird and the terrible bleed into the everyday. I catch myself scanning the crowd for that flicker of blue eyes again. Even though I know better, even though I'm terrified of what I might find, sometimes I think about telling someone, about warning them. But who believes that darkness still lingers in places meant for healing, especially when the scars aren't visible, the nightmares not spoken? The silence can swallow you whole. Janet shows up on my doorstep some days, her hug a little tighter, words fewer but real. I'm not the same Brittany who bit down on that tooth. I'm sharper now, wiser maybe, but also broken, fragile in new ways that don't heal. The world tastes different, darker, fuller of shadows that don't quite belong. And yeah, I can't forget, because somewhere just out of reach, those shadows are still moving, waiting, watching. And I'm still here, still fighting, still breathing. It hit me tonight, the truth that's been hiding in plain sight, twisting everything I thought I knew. I was wandering the hospital's halls again, half lost in the dark, searching for something. Answers? Closure? Hell, I don't even know. My hands were cold, pulse quick but uneven, and that damn tooth still felt like an anchor in my pocket. It was heavier than ever. Then I noticed it, something small, subtle, but impossible to miss. The security cameras everywhere, blinking red eyes watching with that cold, unfeeling stare. But one of them, right above the cafeteria entrance, it wasn't just recording, it was changing. The footage looped, but not the way a glitch looks. It was like someone was erasing moments, folding time back on itself, like it was swallowing pieces of the day whole, feeding on reality. I tried to shake it off, maybe tiredness, but then my phone buzzed again. No number, just a message. You think it ended? You think it's safe? It's only getting started. My breath hitched. I wanted to drop the phone but couldn't move. The hallway seemed to close in, the walls breathing slow, like the building itself was alive and hungry. And suddenly I saw them, faces in reflections that weren't mine or anyone I knew. Twisted, pale, watching from windows, from shiny floors, from broken glass. Eyes that blinked just a moment too late. Smiles that stretched too wide. They were ghosts. They were so terrifying. Something else. Shadows caught between what is real and what isn't. Stuck here, feeding, waiting. Everything I fought, everything I lost, was just one layer of a bigger nightmare. That tooth, the jars, the flesh, the twisted files, Pete, Janet, Sam. It was never just about the hospital. It was about control, about something that twists our world from the inside out without anyone knowing. Something that slips through cracks in our time and space, settling like a disease. And here's the worst part. I realized I haven't just been a victim. I've been part of it. The choice I made, the erasing, the forgetting, didn't stop it. It spread. It grew. The silence you feel, that feeling like someone's always watching, that's no paranoia. That's the infection crawling forward. Look around you. Feel the walls breathe. That shadow sitting just beyond your sight, that's real. It's patient. It's waiting for its moment. For the split second, when you're not looking closely enough, when you bite into the wrong thing, maybe you're already carrying a piece of it inside your food, your home, your body. Maybe it's feeding on your trust, your memory, your life. And if you think you're safe because you haven't seen it yet, that's the lie. Because once it's close, once it's under your skin, there's no running, no hiding. I never wanted to be the one who saw this, who held the tooth that cracked the world open. But now I have. So I'm telling you, friend, hear me out. Watch your food, your shadows, your people. Question what feels familiar, even what feels real. Trust your gut when it says something's wrong, even if you can't say why. Because this isn't just a story, it's a warning. And if you're listening, listen. If you're listening, listen. You might already be part of it, waiting for the moment it bites back. Don't let it find you unready. Don't let it feed. Because the thing you looked at, the thing you never really saw, that thing is still here, watching, waiting. And if you blink, if you let your jaw drop just that one time, you'll bite down on the nightmare too. And then, nothing will ever be safe again.